As we have seen, effective force transfer and stability depends in part on the integrity of bones, joints, and ligaments, or form closure, the support of associated muscles, tendons, and fascia, or force closure, and the proficiency of muscle activation, or motor control. To help ensure efficient force transfer and stability across the kinetic chain, each joint and body segment possesses both local systems and global systems. Local systems include muscles essential for localized joint stability and neutral joint positioning. They are often smaller and do not produce significant movement. Examples of local muscles include the supraspinatus of the shoulder girdle, the soleus in the lower leg, and the pelvic floor, which serves the trunk. Global systems include muscles responsible for regional stability and motion. These muscles tend to work cooperatively with other muscles from other regions to transfer force across the body. Examples of the global system muscles include the rectus abdominis in the trunk, gastrocnemius in the lower leg, or the rectus femoris in the thigh. Local systems prepare joints for oncoming forces by acting in an anticipatory manner. For example, the supraspinatus aids stability for abduction of the shoulders. Global systems function as prime movers and translators of force across segments. They conserve motion and stability. So, whereas the pectoralis muscles move the upper arm in the bench press, the latissimus dorsi and shoulder keep the upper arm from ab or adducting the arm undesirably. Let's take a deeper dive into this concept. Local and global systems can be further broken down categorically into local and global stabilizers, as well as global mobilizers. Local stabilizers increase muscle tension to control segmental movement and maintain neutral joint positions. Their contractions do not usually produce joint movement, but rather serve to fulfill proprioceptive and optimal activation functions. An example in the trunk would be the transverse abdominis. Global stabilizers generate force to control the range of motion at a segment. They control mobility and tend to contract for deceleration and rotational control. An example in the trunk would be the internal obliques. Global mobilizers generate torque to produce movement. They tend to contract concentrically and absorb force created by impacts. An example in the trunk would be the erector spinae. The local and global systems in the trunk, or the lumbopelvic region, experience the greatest risk for inefficiency. Lack of trunk efficiency reduces performance when force must manifest in the hands or feet, such as when throwing a baseball or kicking a soccer ball. Often, athletes will experience dysfunctional spinal extensor and hip flexor dominance, which can be easily seen during a plank as their butt sticks up in the air, rather than maintaining a flat body position. When muscles such as these become overactive, they tend to take over stability rather than function in force transfer. Interestingly, when global movers take over stability, they actually make the segment less stable for functional tasks. Let's now look at what affects stability beyond the aforementioned functional components. Stability, or equilibrium, is assessed by examining one's relative control of forces in a given environment, such as during a game. It is impacted by the base of support as well as the alignment and height of the center of mass relative to the base of support. For example, taking a wider stance would increase the base of support and therefore increase stability, whereas holding an object or weight overhead would raise the center of mass and therefore decrease stability. Holding the item overhead and in front of the body would decrease stability even further. Other factors which can impact stability include bodily proportions, as taller people are often less stable than shorter, more compact individuals who have a lower center of gravity. Friction. Just think of running on a court versus skating on ice. Segmental alignment, as proper alignment of joints across the kinetic chain can have a major impact on stability. Velocity, because the faster the movement of one's body, the more difficult it can become to maintain stability. Body mass, as greater mass equals greater stability when aligned with the base of support. Visual, physiological, and psychological elements, as the vestibular system affects balance and consequently stability, and proper movement mechanics.